All right, everyone. So today, again, like I just said, we will be discussing the prospecting process within your database, how to entice new prospects and nurture them, and how to convert them into paying members. ZenPlanner actually offers quite a few tools to help your business attract, nurture, and convert prospects. So today, what we're going to spend most of our time doing is going over just the entire process. So how to embed prospect forms and new lead capture forms into your website and Facebook page, how to generate leads using some of the automations already built out in your database, how to turn those on and customize them. I'm going to show you what we call the prospect funnel. This is a funnel that was recently pushed into everyone's database. We kind of did it without telling everyone. So of course today I'd like to show you guys how to navigate that. It's a really awesome tool that has actually helped a lot of our customers just gain a lot of, generate a ton of leads, as well as convert those prospects into members. We are also going to talk about how to address those non-responsive prospects into groups. So for example, maybe you have a ton of people that have shown interest in the past, and even though you've reached out to them, they have not really responded to anything, and so maybe what we should do with them is possibly put them in some sort of marketing email campaign, how to navigate, how to manage that within your database. Of course, I'm going to show you guys how to report on those prospects, and of course, I'm going to show you a couple of different additional resources that are available within the ZenPlanner, like help document library and some blogs for you. Again, I do have Christian with me today, so please feel free to throw in any questions that you have. I also have some polls to ask today. I've got some handouts available to you, so I think you can find that within the little navigation bar where it says handouts. You should be able to access those on your own. And I did want to mention that after today's call, there is a little survey that is going to populate for you. Those surveys are really helpful for me because I ask questions like, what other topics would you like to learn about? Some things that just really help us gauge what's tricky within ZenPlanner and what's not. I'd also love to know, there's another question that me personally would like to know as far as when we do get additional new features added in, what's the best way for us to communicate that information to you? So that way you guys are aware of all the cool things that we're building for you. So let's go ahead and dive in today regarding all of the prospects. One of the items that I did want to showcase is what I'm going to show you today is how to navigate this within my test database. I'm in the heavyweight database today. Before you do this within yours, there's a couple of things that I suggest that you guys think through, and you can actually see this in one of the handouts, and that is, just like what kind of goals are you looking for today? Like what are some of the goals that you have as far as prospecting? Are there certain programs that you want to grow? Maybe you're looking at specific times of classes that you'd like to add. Maybe your classes are pretty full right now, but you're just planning for the future or adding additional time. So that's a really good thing to kind of address. You'll definitely want to figure out how many touch points you want a prospect to have. So, if somebody inquires with you, how many times is it appropriate for you to follow up, and how quickly should you follow up? Just so you know, the kind of industry standard I would suggest is maybe up to 6 points of contacts within the first 3 to 5 days. That does not have to be all phone calls. You can use emails within ZenPlanner. You can use text messaging, all sorts of cool stuff to help keep people engaged. So I'm going to show you guys how to navigate that. I also suggest, and this is probably the most important one, specifically related to the prospect funnel, is what kind of prospect statuses you guys would like to have. I do have a list of suggested ones that I would use, but of course every business is different. You guys might follow up differently than I might, so you might want to figure out, okay, when we get a new prospect, do we give them a call first, or do we send them an email? And then what happens if they don't answer the call? We should say that we left them a voicemail, and then how many more times should we follow up via call versus texting versus sending an email? So that I'm going to leave that up to you, but I will show you what that looks like for me, and hopefully you guys can translate that to make sense for you. And then the last thing that I would suggest for you to consider is how much, a realistic amount of time that you're willing to spend every single week or every day in this kind of thing. Obviously, the whole purpose of the prospect funnel is to automate this whole process for you. If you are a one-man show, you are probably busy coaching and managing your prospects and your clients yourself. If you happen to have an admin person working for you, you can really geek out on this stuff and make things really customized where you might not have the time to do that if it's just a one-man show. So just things to consider. But I'm going to go ahead and dive right on in my test database today. We're going to talk about just the basics of a prospect first. So in ZenPlanner, you guys probably know this, but a prospect is a person that has just shown interest in your facility. They would have purchased a drop-in, registered for a free trial, or possibly filled out the new lead widget or request info form. So they are not yet a member. If a prospect, so like if, let's see, Lucy Lou purchases a membership, her status will change from prospect to member. Really important, if that member then drops their membership or cancels or maybe uses all of their punch cards or whatever that might be, their status will change from member to alumni. That's how ZenPlanner is able to track who has a current membership. There is only one exception to this rule. Let's say Lucy Lou said that she was interested in like group fitness, and that's what she filled out a prospect form for, but she ended up purchasing a private training membership that does not give access to that group fitness program. And let's say she eventually uses all of her classes for private training, so her membership would drop. Her status will actually, instead of going back to alumni, it would go back to prospect, simply because she said that she was interested in one thing and she bought a membership in something else. So when that something else drops, she's still interested in that first thing. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. We do get questions on that quite often. Wanted to mention that. So really quickly, just so I can get a better lead on you guys, I'm going to drop a poll. Hopefully I'm doing this right. And I'm just curious as far as how you guys happen to get most of your prospects right now. So please go ahead and fill that out for me just so I have a better understanding of how you guys get most of your prospects, how people are entering themselves into your database, or if this is something that your people are entering in for you. Looks like majority of people are referrals and social media right now, a couple website folks, not too many drive-by or walk-ins, and then a couple of others. So that's really good for me to know. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll, and it looks like we're going to spend some time going over how to attract people through your website and social media, and then of course how to really capitalize on the whole referral process. So the best way that ZenPlanner can help you are by using embeddable forms. We actually have two options for you. There's one that's pretty new. It's the new lead capture form. And I'm going to actually show you how to access that today. We're going to go into Setup menu. I'm going to scroll down in the secondary navigation until we get to this widgets area where it says My Widgets. So a couple of things here. You might notice that it says lead capture right here. Eventually, in the future, we will certainly add a couple other widgets such as like calendar and membership sign up and all sorts of other good stuff. We decided to start with the lead capture here. The reason why we like to use widgets is because you guys can customize them to match your brand and your voice. And so here's how we're going to actually create a widget for you to generate new leads. I'm going to click Create up here in the top right. And you can actually name this whatever you'd like. It says the default name is Lead Capture Widget. And right now I'm building this for my group fitness program. You can actually create multiple different widgets for each program that you offer, and also different sources that you possibly might embed this on. So that's really helpful so you can see where you're getting the most bang for your buck. I might say, let's call this group fitness, just so I'm able to track that. And then something else that's really cool about this widget is you can decide which layout, if you'd like it to be horizontal or vertical. And down here you can see like a live version of what happens if you change that. Choose whatever font you'd like. You can customize this however you'd like, change the opacity. And this is probably the best thing is you can also customize this. This is a big question that we got often is how we can make this match your brand. You can just throw in your color there. And then the only other thing here is you might want to create a call of action that matches your brand. So instead of maybe submit, you might want to say go, or like, give me more info or something like that. Just something that might be a little bit more enticing. Confirmation message, this is what I receive after I fill out this form. And then you can actually add an additional field if you'd like to. So here's the difference. We actually have two different things that you can embed onto your website or Facebook page that both basically generate prospects. The difference between the widget and the one I'll show you in just a minute is this widget, you can actually only put in one additional field. So what I would suggest here is their phone number. Say I want to throw that in, and this is required. That way when I do get a prospect, if part of my process is to call them, obviously I'm going to need their phone number. Some people like to add additional questions, and that's totally fine. The reason why we kind of limit it to 4 max is because just we've found in our research that the less friction that you have, so like the lower barrier to entry that you have, the more likely people are to fill out this form. Again, you can customize, like, okay, this is for my group fitness, and they would have heard about me through Facebook, or actually you can just kind of keep that open if you'd like to. So once this looks good, we're actually going to hit Save Changes on the top right. And then this code, and then the Save button changes into Display Widget Code, where you can literally copy and paste this code into your website. I'm going to show you what this looks like on a real-time HTML editor. So this top part probably, it represents the back end of your website, and down here represents what your customers would see. If I simply paste this code in, there's the widget. So pretend this is on your website. It's as simple as copying and pasting, guys, and this actually works on Facebook as well. So let's say, I'm a new person and I'm on your website, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this out as if I'm Amy. I'll hit Submit, and you'll see that the next page is that thank you message. Again, you can customize this in your database. This is really powerful because you might notice in your database, if you go back and you click on the people icon, you just got a brand new prospect, and there's Amy, right? You got some contact info for her, and she's this new prospect here. So that's one way to kind of get new prospects into your database. That is the new lead capture form. It is quick and easy and customizable. Again, you can't capture too much info from that prospect, but like I said, it's supposed to be fast and easy for that person to fill out. It generates a high quantity of leads. So that's kind of the difference between the first one, the widget that I'm going to show you, that I just showed you, and then the next one, which is called the request info form. Many of you might be more familiar with this because that's kind of the first, our first version of the widget. So here's the difference between the two. The other one, request info form, can be found here under this registration option section under Member Connect. So you'll go to Setup, Member Connect, Registration Options, and the very first tab is called Prospects. You'll notice that your programs that you've created populate here for you. Just click on the program that you would like to create a prospect form for. So for example, Group Fitness. And this little pop-up button will appear, and you can say, yep, I want to add this form to my website. And this goes to your Member Connect website. It is not automatically embedded on your website or your Facebook page. You'll see that the required fields are first name, last name, and email, but you can, of course, also ask for their phone number, their gender, their birthday, if you'd like to. Here's a big difference between the widget and the request info form is you can add more than 4 questions. Not only that, but you can create custom questions. So this is a way that you can kind of geek out as far as like what kind of things you can be asking your prospects. Creating custom questions is actually creating what we call custom fields. So I'm going to actually click away from this registration option section. I'm going to come back here in just a minute. We're going to add some additional questions. They're going to populate over here first. We just have to build them. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to create those custom fields. We're going to go to your database tools on that secondary navigation. Click on Custom Fields, and we're going to add in a custom field. Some great custom fields to ask are like, list 3 goals. Like make it really simple. List 3 goals, right? How are they going to answer this? So this is, we're going to give them a long text box to answer this. If you're asking them a yes or no question, indicate that. If it's a date question or anything like that, if you want them to select from a list, perfect. You'll just create that field. We'll say list 3 goals, and then location. This is where you want this piece of information to live on their profile. So I'm actually going to suggest personal for anything that is lead capture related. If you want to show on their profile, perfect. Click Save Custom Field, and maybe you also want to, add an additional one that says, I don't know, like maybe this is a big one, maybe an emergency contact, for example. Name and number. So you might want to put that in as a long text too, just to give them space for that. So I'm going to hit save here, just so we've built out a few custom fields. You guys can see how to do that. Scroll back up till we get to Member Connect and back to that registration options section, back into this Group Fitness, and you'll notice that those custom fields just populated in here. You can have up to 25 custom fields in regards to this prospect form. So just keep that in mind. We're going to say, let's add this in here. Let's say list 3 goals, maybe their birthday, that's great, or phone number. And you can say, okay, I want to throw in some tracking codes too. I would like for that person to tell me how they heard about me, and I want them to have a couple different options. You can really geek out about this if you'd like to. You can say, you know, anyone who fills this out is going to be a new prospect. Anyone, maybe like we want to assign this to a specific instructor, or before they fill this out, we want to say, you know, thank you for your interest. Just make this sound like you. Once they fill out the form, if you want them to be redirected to a different page or maybe show them that confirmation page, that's great. If you want to give them a password, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and hit Save Changes, and we'll see that now that we have this, this form and it lives on our Member Connect website currently, I'm going to show you guys how to embed that on your website. It's really simple. I can access that iframe code by clicking on the group fitness and going to this widget page, or I can access it from sharing and embedding under Member Connect. It's actually in both places. But if I go back up to this HTML editor and I throw that in here, here's this request info form. So obviously this one is not as customizable, it's not as pretty as the first one, but you can add additional questions. Why that might be helpful, guys, is maybe you have a landing page that's specific to a program, and you know, maybe it's like, this is personal training clients, and I actually have a ton of questions to ask them. List 3 goals, that's a really great question to ask people, because when you follow up with them, you can ask them questions specifically about their goals. You have a better talking point. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. We're going to add in another person. We'll say obviously she'll fill this out, but we'll go ahead and submit that form, and then again, this is what they'll receive. It works the exact same way. Within your people, you're going to have now 3 prospects. So hopefully that makes sense and how to manage that. That is the difference between the new prospect form and the widgets. Some other great questions to ask are like, what's been the hardest thing about accomplishing your goals and that kind of thing. Those questions are really great because they give you a talking point when you call them, and also evokes emotion. Tells you that, you know, you care about them. Some additional tips as far as whether you're using the widget or the new prospect form, what you can do, some tips that I have for you is you want to place that form. You know, when I go to your website, we want that form to be pretty high on the page. You don't want to make that person scroll down below the fold to find it. Again, you want to brand it to your colors. You want a strong call to action, so that's specific to the widget. You want to, instead of maybe saying submit, you might want to use your language on that one. You want to possibly test each widget or iframe to see which program you're most successful on, or which source, like whether this is embedded on your Facebook page or possibly on your website. You'll definitely want to see which ones are more successful. And so those are some different tips that I have for you. We also have a video. I'm actually going to share this in the chat. Looks like Christian's busy answering some questions, but definitely want to share this with you guys. Here's a really great resource for you. It might start playing once you open it, but it's a video that's going to show you guys how to embed on your Facebook page. That should be pretty helpful for you. There are some other lead generating tools besides the iframe code that I just showed you and the widget, and this is actually capitalizing on what you guys had mentioned within that poll as far as how you guys get leads, and this is referrals. So how we can actually access what would be an email to be sent out to your members to ask them to refer their friends or family members, or possibly even like rate you on Yelp or Facebook. We're going to find that within the setup menu. This time we're going to scroll until we get to communication, and there's actually a document template that we built out for you. So we'll click into document templates. This document template lives under marketing, this marketing section here. You can do this like us on Facebook maybe, so I would suggest here's the template. It's going to say like us on Facebook, Emily, right? This tag here is going to populate my name for me. If you don't like this message, absolutely customize it, make it sound like you and less like us. If you like the idea, of using tags, but you don't like our tags that we've built in here, you can select from this tag drop-down menu. Maybe you also want to put in, what their goals were. Like, hey, these are your goals, we hear you loud and clear, or whatever it might be. The system's actually going to populate that for you. One suggestion I have is to hyperlink this logo with your Facebook page, obviously, so that they know where to go. They can just click on it and go ahead and rate you from there. But this is a really helpful one. Something about document templates is this is actually going to go to that client's primary email address. It's going to say that it's coming from you unless you want it to say that it's coming from someone else. And then if you want them, maybe you have an admin that if they reply to this message, you want that message to go to somebody else, absolutely go ahead and throw that in there. Maybe you want this to go to Christian, right? So you can put in his email address and that'll be great. By the way, when it says school, that means your name. So mine would say Heavyweights, right? Whatever your business name is that's listed here, you can manage what this says. You can manage what this says on in this business info section. So like whatever this says in here is what's going to populate in those tags. That's really important. Cool. So that's how to find those referral and those Facebook links. I see that we have some questions regarding how to embed on Facebook. I am happy to show you what it looks like for a real client embedded on Facebook. I can't show you the process of it simply because I do not have everyone's Facebook login credentials. I don't think you want me to have that. So I'm happy to show you what it looks like for my gym, and you guys can kind of decide if that's something you would like. Again, please check out that video. That video is literally a step-by-step on how to do it. So that should be really helpful for you guys. We're going to get towards that towards the end. Christian's going to remind me to do that. All right. So we've talked a lot about how to generate leads. And this whole webinar is supposed to be about the prospect funnel. So obviously we've generated a couple of leads now. Now we got to decide what we want to do with them. You might have noticed that when I filled out those forms as Tina and as Amy, they were added to the database, but like I never received a notification that I got brand new prospects. That's kind of a problem. I want to know when people are interested because I want to act on that pretty quickly after they reach out. So let's actually start with the bare minimum. If you are super tied up all the time and you are like a one-man show and you don't really have a lot of like time for following up with people, this is the very minimum that you need to have turned on in order to receive notification that you got a brand new prospect. Sorry, you're actually going to go to setup down here, and I just accidentally turned this on. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you're going to go to setup, and we're going to go back to this communication section. So where we're going to begin is actually in this automation area. My automations probably look a little different to you because this is a test database. I've actually disabled all of them. Where you're going to find the automation that you need, like the very minimum that you need, is actually in the prospect section. And it is the new prospect staff alert. This automation, I'm going to click into it. What we're going to see is not the actual message itself. We're going to see all the criteria that somebody has to meet in order to receive this message. And literally, it's just like this person is a prospect. This message is going to be sent out when they inquire, 0 days after their inquiry. What message is going to be sent out? This one, right, where it says we're going to click Open Message Template Editor in just a moment. If this name of the automation doesn't make sense to you, you can absolutely call it something different. You can just change which category it's filed under just for your purposes. And to activate this automation, you'll just check that box. Before we activate it, though, you might want to just check out and make sure that it's saying everything that you want it to say. So we're going to go ahead and open up this message. You'll see that when I do that, it's actually going to kick me out of this automation section and bring me to that specific document template tied to it, where it's going to say new prospect and it's going to say Amy Poehler, right? Here's her name. We did not ask for her company when she filled out those forms, so this is actually going to be blank. You might not care for that anyway, so you can delete it. How did you hear about us? Only the questions that she answers are going to be populated in here. Again, these are tags. You can customize those tags here. So something to notice about this specific automation is that it's a staff alert. So if I scroll down, you can decide which staff member you want this to go to. If you do want it to go to multiple staff members, really important, that really important that when you decide if you do want this to go to multiple staff members, you're actually going to want to change the layout. So this might not want to be a task. You might want to change it to be possibly an email to a couple different staff members. That's really simple to do. You can simply copy this message, click Edit Properties, and change the format. Maybe you would rather this be an email. If we do that, when we hit Save Changes, you're going to have an option down here where you can pull in multiple staff members' names. You can do that as like the to, the CC, the blind copy, or you can just put a semicolon in between people's names and put in their email addresses that way. So that's a really important one. If we have this one turned on, so again, to turn that on, we'll go back to that automation section. And you'll notice that the automations that you kind of were in last kind of populate towards the top under My Automations. That's kind of a user tip there. If I click back into this one and activate it, click Save Changes, then this one's now active. So now anytime somebody fills out that form, an alert is going to go out. So for example, let's go ahead and try this one out. Here's what this is going to look like now. I'm going to go ahead and we'll just do this in real time just so you guys can see. This is actually what kicks off the entire prospect funnel. So we put cushion in here, put in a phone number, put in a birthday. When we submit this form, so now back in your database, you just got a brand new prospect. There's Christian's name, but since we've turned on that automation, when Emily logs in, so I think that it's going to go to my task. It's just going to take a moment to go through. But you can also check this. You can see that emails are being sent out in your email history here, so you can just make sure that those are going out. Again, this one usually takes a second to go through, but looks like these have kind of retroactively gone out. I just got an email about some of these guys, so you can see that these are going through now. That's kind of the very first thing that you need in regards to this prospect funnel. So if I go back to that automation section, I want to showcase a couple other ways that you can really take advantage of this prospect funnel that we've built out for you. Let's see here. We're going to go to this automation section, and what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down until we get to this prospect funnel area where we have built out a ton of automations for you. So again, what I mentioned earlier is like what kind of goals you guys have, like what are the different statuses you want somebody to go through. If you give someone a call and they don't answer, do you call them again or do you email them? Like this is just kind of our default, what we think that may be, you know, like the most way that you can follow this. These statuses I actually created as in like my lookup codes, and I'm going to show you how to edit that really quickly. We actually have to do that before we hop into this prospect funnel, but I want to kind of show you how things talk to each other. This is how we're going to turn them on. You'll notice that there's some that go to that person and some that go to the staff member. So for example, let's say I get that task about Tina Fey and how she's a new prospect. The first thing I'm going to do is the heavyweights database, our priority is to give them a call first. Well, if I call them and they don't answer, I'm going to put them in this call one voicemail status. Then that's going to kick off them receiving whatever message is tied to this automation. I'm going to turn this staff task on because 2 days later or 1 day later or whatever you guys decide, if that person still hasn't reached out, I'm going to get a notification as a staff member to give them a second call, right? And it just kind of goes through this process. It's going to, okay, give them a second call, third call, and maybe on my second call I get them on the phone, and I schedule an appointment with them. We're going to skip all of these different statuses. It's going to go all the way to, scheduled. And then maybe they show up, perfect. So then maybe we sign them up, or maybe they're not interested, or whatever it is. This is a way that you can kind of funnel people through that. So before I can even turn these guys on for you, I need to show you guys where you can go to customize what statuses you want. We're going to go down to this setup area, down to database tools. So earlier we were in custom fields. That's how we created those custom questions. Just below that is this area called lookup codes, and this is a really awesome space for you guys to customize your database. The default setting is actually prospect status. This is what we're looking for today, and here's where I've added in the ones that I would use for my heavyweights business. I have a video and 2 help documents I'm going to send in my follow-up email that includes, like, it literally just tells you all of these things. You don't have to frantically write these down if you don't want to. And it shows you how to add these in. You'll simply just add in another label, type that in. You can exit the ones out that you don't want to use, that kind of thing. I don't, just based off of when we implemented the prospect funnel, yours most likely look different than what I'm showing here today. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you do need help with that, our support team helps with this every single day. So please reach out to us. We're happy to help you guys with that. So once we've got these prospect statuses built out, one other thing I might want to highlight for you is you can also edit your prospect source. So I think like the defaults are actually pretty funny. They're like newspaper and like phone book and stuff like that. If you guys don't advertise in a phone book or a newspaper, this might not be super helpful. So definitely customize this to make sense for you. But once you've got those prospect statuses filled out, scroll back up, go back to your automation section, and we're going to head back on down to that prospect funnel, and it is simple as you click into call 1 or whatever you decide to call it. It's going to open up this message for us. We're going to say, okay, anytime somebody is in this call 1, right? They're a prospect, they're in the status, because what had happened is Tina Fey filled out a form, I called her, she didn't answer, so and I'm going to show you guys how to do this, I put her in this call 1, no answer voicemail status, which is going to kick off, as soon as I do that, the second she gets that, she's going to receive this email. If you guys don't like this process, you can call this literally whatever you want. This is just what we've named it. To activate that, click that box. To see the message that Tina would receive, click Open Message Template Editor. And it's going to say, sorry we missed you, Tina. All right, we just left you a voice message. Thanks for expressing your interest in heavyweights. Feel free to stop by. I mean, make this sound like you, right? It's going to go to their primary email. You might want to copy yourself on the first few just to make sure that they're going out. Maybe blind copy you on them. Maybe if you want somebody else to respond to their messages, fill that out here. It's just a follow-up for that person. Well, that's great. That's going to go to the prospect, but maybe you want a staff member to also get a notification or some sort of reminder a day later to contact Tina again. Well, that's this call 1 voicemail staff task. So click into that one. Make sure you change the status to whatever you've named here. This is the only work that you have to do. You have to change the status to whatever you want it to be called. We don't do that automatically for you because we don't want to mess up your current process. So this is really important that you guys do that. And you'll notice that it's going to go to that staff member 2 days after I've updated them. You can change that 1 day, 1 week, whatever you want. We'll activate this. And let's see what this message says. This is going to be a staff task. Please call Tina Fey. Here's her phone number. She did not respond to the first voice message, right? If you did use the request info form, you might want to say like, oh, let's see here. You want to throw in like list 3 goals. Like you want to know what her goals were. Well, perfect. This is going to populate what she said. So now you know what to talk to her about, right? We'll hit save. And the prospect funnel, like this process probably takes the longest because first of all, you're going to want to make sure that you create statuses that make most sense to you. You're going to make sure you link each one appropriately. And then thirdly, you also want to make sure that the message that goes out to the staff member and to the prospect sounds like you. So you want to review all those. This process probably takes the longest. Once this is in line though, it's going to automate your prospecting. I mean, you're going to log in, you're going to go to your dashboard, you'll see some tasks here listed for you. You'll be able to follow up just based off of, here's their phone number. You can call them right from your database. Let's say we go to your prospects. You can either click on prospects here. You might notice that when we created those prospect statuses, it created different lists here within this people navigation. If I click on new prospect and Tina's here, okay, perfect. Let's say I give Tina a call. I can either click edit here and I can go to her prospect section and change which status she's in. When I click save, Tina is no longer going to be in this list because she's down here under call 1. Let's say you give everyone a call and you leave them all a voice message, or maybe both of them and they didn't answer. You can click batch update. You can do this for multiple people at once, change which status they should be in, right? So this is what's going to kick off which which automation they should receive. This is what your admin should be doing. So hopefully this is kind of making a little bit of sense on how all of those items kind of play together. You can customize a ton of these different items. This is just kind of like the bare minimum as far as how to navigate this prospect funnel. Again, it's a little bit to set up, but it's going to save so much time for you once you've got that set up. Cool, guys. So that's kind of the prospect funnel. Again, you can access this here under Setup, Automations. Just go through that funnel that we've created. Again, if you have questions on that, please let us know. We've got all sorts of really great help documents on that. So here's like step 1, right, on how to do that. Look up codes, change them to what they should be called. Step 2, go into each and every single automation and do what I just told you to do. I also have a video on it, so I'm going to send all 3 of those your way in that follow-up email. Please let me know what kind of questions you've got there. Let's see here. So that's kind of all I have as far as the prospect funnel goes. This was probably, it sounds like this was unclear earlier. We showed you guys how to find the email that's going to go out to people, asking them to like you on Facebook. In that same areas where you can find the referral section. So you'll just go into document templates, scroll down until you get to that marketing section again. And here's our built out template for you where you can refer a friend. Obviously, you might want to customize this. I don't know if anyone gives that out, but you can just say, please refer a friend if you don't want to give anything away or whatever it is. So definitely suggest throwing that in there, customizing this document. If this is, you know, if you like the idea of this, maybe you want to have a campaign or something like that, absolutely. You can create new templates, right? You'll say, this is going to be an email. This is going to go, like, I want the tags available to be relevant to people. I'm going to call this referral, you know, like number 2 or whatever. And I'm going to put this in my marketing category just so they're all listed together. And when you create that document, it's going to be a follow-up, right? You can manually send this out if you'd like to. And you can do that by clicking, once you have it drafted, click Save. And then once you have it drafted, click Send Emails. And this is how to manually send it out. You can click on everyone. You can use the criteria up here because right now what we're looking at is a people report. Maybe you, instead of sending this to every single person, you're like, you know what, I actually only want this to go to people whose status is student, only my current members. It doesn't make sense to make prospects refer. So you can click both people and click Send Referral. Something to note, sometimes we get questions like later on, someone might reach out to our support team asking, hey, Eileen didn't receive this email. That's because Eileen doesn't have an email address listed in here, right? So that's what we'll do there. Great. So another great question, and this is actually related to how to follow up with people who might not be very responsive. Maybe you have some folks that after going through this prospect funnel, they end up being in this not interested category. So what you might want to do is you might actually want to add all those people to a singular group so that way you can send emails, like how I just showed you how to do that manually, or you can integrate with MailChimp. That's what my gym does. We integrate with MailChimp and just send all our newsletters out that way. How you can do that, guys, is what you'll do is within your, you can either go in with a not interested, and I don't have anyone in there, but you might have a list of folks in there. Or if you just like literally want to send this to everyone, you can click on your all people, select everyone, you can batch update, and then down here where it says groups, you can add them to a group. Maybe we'll call this a newsletter group, right? You can remove people from groups if you'd like to, and note that in this secondary navigation here under people, right now I have one group. When I hit save, I'm now going to have 2 groups in there. There's your newsletter group. So now when you create documents, you can send emails out to an entire group. You can do that within ZenPlanner. You can do that within MailChimp through our integration. So that was a big question, looks like Christian had for me. I want to see what other kind of items I want to show you before we get to some more questions here. show you guys how to kind of follow up with people who might not be interested in. Really great resource for you, of course, is you can see what people are interested in, and if they haven't reached out to you, send them promotional deals to whatever that program was. This is just kind of keep them in the loop. I do have another handout in there for you guys that's going to show you, different suggestions as far as tips on how to follow up with people and what kind of content to create there. So definitely suggest looking through those guys. Let's see here. And just curious, after going through all those different ways as far as how you can follow up with people in ZenPlanner, I do have another poll for you guys. I'm curious as to see how you guys follow up with prospects currently if you are not using the prospect funnel. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. Looks like you guys can let me know how you guys are following up with prospects if you do use automations, or if you do it more manually, or if you do some sort of combination between the two of them. Perfect. Looks like the majority of you guys are using the manual method right now, which is probably why a lot of us are in here today learning about the prospect funnel. Something that I do want to note, when it comes to setting up the prospect funnel, obviously it's a manual job. ZenPlanner is not going to call your prospects for you. That's probably something that you're going to want to do anyways, just to kind of see what their goals are. I will, to be completely transparent, using prospect funnel within ZenPlanner, it definitely automates the process. It makes it much easier, so that way you keep track of every single person. It is not totally hands-off. You will have to follow up with your people. There are some, I'm just doing my own research for this webinar today. There are some other programs out there, some other softwares out there that simply do prospect tracking, that's all they do, and that's great. Those softwares can be up to $150 a month, and so why we really love putting these tools within ZenPlanner is because it's already included in your cost of ZenPlanner. Literally all you have to do is just set up a few things and make sure that your reports are accurate. So definitely wanted to just kind of mention that for today. Speaking of some of those reports, this is the last topic that I have before I turn it over to a few questions for you guys. So let me quickly head on over to my dashboard. Some of the really great reports that I do want to highlight today that you guys might not be using, these actually talk directly to that prospect funnel. So you might definitely want to incorporate that prospect funnel if you decide to use this. From your dashboard, we'll click on Customize on the top right. And everything here, all these tabs, are different reports that are currently listed on your dashboard. You can hide them or you can show them. You can create goals for yourself. So you're like, okay, if I have more than 50 students today, it's going to be green. If I'm between 50 and 25, it's going to be yellow. Anything below 25 is red. Obviously, my database is pretty empty, so it's going to be red when I hit save. But I actually want to show you this charts section. The two that I definitely recommend if you're using the prospect funnel is this prospect status report and this prospect conversion rate report. These two are really awesome. They help kind of give you insight as far as where people are, what status they're in. You can see it easily when you log in. This daily membership average is a report that was literally, I think it was added in a couple days ago, and it's really awesome. It shows you the average amount of members that you've had every single month since you've used ZenPlanner. So you don't have to do that crazy report of, student membership sign-up date is on or before and then put in hard dates. That report will actually do that for you. It doesn't really have much to do with prospecting, but wanted to point that out for you. Definitely suggest turning that on. We'll hit save and return, and I'm going to show you these two reports. So here is my daily membership average. You guys will certainly want to go through those. And then here's my prospect status. I can see that I've got one with no staff assigned in this new prospect status, and I have 3 also no staff assigned. So I might want to assign that to a specific staff member. And then down here, you can see kind of more of your conversion rate, where people are right now. Once they sign up, this is going to look a little different down here. So obviously, this report is not super robust currently, just because I don't have a whole bunch of people loaded in here just quite yet. But those 2 reports are going to be super helpful, so you can see where people are today. There's also a really great report that I want to show you here within the Saved Report section under Members. And that is this Membership History New report. We'll click in there. And we're going to be able to see a bar chart. You can decide which year you want to look at, which program specifically you would like to look at, and it's going to show you your signups. Obviously, mine is brand new, so yours is going to look a little differently than mine, but that's going to be a really awesome report for you guys to follow. There are some, like membership sign-up reports that you guys can build. If you guys want to do attendance reports, that's awesome too. These reports, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you do have like a trial membership that you created, for example, my gym has a 1-week free membership. We had to build that out literally as a membership option. That's going to kind of skew this report for us because ZenPlanner thinks that person's a member because they have a membership. So certainly keep that in mind. My gym views them as prospects. Keep that in mind, like your setup that you currently have and kind of what your priorities are. But those are the 3 reports I wanted to show you. Looks like Christian's answering some questions right now, so I'm going to mute myself really quickly, see what kind of questions you guys have, and we'll just dive right on in. Great, guys. So it looks like we've got some questions regarding MailChimp. So here's how we'll start at the beginning as far as integrating it. It's so easy. We're going to go to Setup, scroll down until you get to this MailChimp section. In ZenPlanner, that's like where you start. You will need to go to MailChimp and create a profile for yourself. MailChimp is free up to the first 2,000 email addresses. So, if you have more than 2,000 email addresses, you might need to consider that. Maybe you do have more than them, but you're not going to use MailChimp for all 2,000 of them. That's totally fine. You'll log into MailChimp. Here are the steps in finding your API key. Like literally log in, click on the menu, like copy the thing and paste it in here. That's all you do. Once you've done that, this page, when you go back to this page in MailChimp, it's going to look a little different. It's going to say, I think that there's going to be one column that's called List. There's going to be one column that's called Group. You want those to line up together. So what that looks like in MailChimp, MailChimp is saying like you create a list of people, which in ZenPlanner, the term for that is group. It's saying I want this list to talk to this group. Like I want anyone that I add in ZenPlanner that belongs in my newsletter group to go into my list in MailChimp that's called newsletter. Like literally that's what it is. Anytime somebody is added to ZenPlanner, you might need to hop into MailChimp before you send out a newsletter, and down here it would say resync records, just to make sure that all those people are pulled over. And it might not go automatically. You will have to resync those records, but there is a way in ZenPlanner to add people to a group automatically, and that's really easy here under your membership options. Let's say anytime somebody buys this group unlimited membership, if I scroll down to the very bottom here, anytime somebody buys this option, I want that person to be put into this newsletter group, right? That's really easy. You can add people to multiple groups if you'd like, or you can just say, I only want them to go into this group. That's totally great. Maybe you have people who are really interested in, like lifting, like maybe you have Olympic lifting. And anytime you have like a meet or competition nearby, you might want to email those folks that are in that specific group. That would be a really awesome way to utilize groups. So you can certainly automate people to go into specific groups in ZenPlanner. Once you have your integration built out with MailChimp, you'll just need to resync those records before it goes out. I hope that answers your MailChimp question. Looks like some people did want to see what that Facebook integration looks like, so I'm actually going to go ahead and hide my screen really quickly. I'm going to log into Facebook. I'm going to show you what my gyms look like. You guys can check that out. My gym, I think we have the calendar embedded. I don't know if we have the prospect form. We do have the calendar, and it's literally the same thing. And it should mention that this works on Facebook business pages. It does not work on group pages. So that's pretty important to mention. Let's show my screen again. Perfect. Okay. So right here in my Facebook business page, I'm going to click class schedule. This is what we have embedded. Again, like imagine that this is your request info form or your widget. It's the exact same thing. You can decide where you would like for this tab to follow or to fall within yours. This is what the business owner of my gym decided to put it, right? So that's kind of how that will look. If you guys have more questions on that, please let us know. Literally, our support team and our onboarding team answers this question every single day. You are more than welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to walk you through it. We can do a screen share. Please let us know. I want to make sure you're generating all the leads that you need. I'm going to see if Christian has any other questions for us, and we'll kick those off. All right, guys, so it sounds like Christian's getting a couple other questions that are not specifically related to either the prospect funnel or they're very specific within your database. So he and I are going to follow up with you guys directly on those ones. You should be hearing back from us today. There are a couple other pretty cool things I do want to show you guys. I'm going to include, here's a case study that we did for Ludwig Martial Arts that specifically implemented this prospect funnel, and it saves them a ton of time and helps them generate a ton of leads. So definitely suggest reading through that if you're kind of on the edge of using that or not. We've got some really awesome resources for you on how to really, get the most out of your funnel. If you're interested in how people find gyms, here's like how, just a little blog about how people here have found their gyms. It might be kind of interesting for you guys. But two really cool things I did want to show you guys is this new features and releases page. This is a page that I manage. Anytime we add a new functionality, I add it to this page. Definitely suggest bookmarking this page. I'm actually going to send it to you guys right now so you guys can see it. Oh man, let's see. So there's that page. Definitely suggest bookmarking that. It's got all of our new features in there, so you guys can kind of stay on, see what the newer things are. And then I did also create this staff basics page. So maybe you have a whole bunch of staff members that literally don't understand how to use ZenPlanner. That is so heartbreaking for us to hear. So here's like a page that your staff members can reference, and it's just like a how-to. So here's that staff members basic usability page. Again, there will be a survey following this webinar. It's going to be really helpful for me to know what kind of topics are really important for you if this webinar was helpful, if there are any other questions that you have, and most importantly, how I can tell you about new features and the best way for me to communicate that stuff to you. If you guys do have any questions, please reach out to us at 866-541-3570, or you can email us at help@zenplanner.com. I will be sending the recording from this webinar later today, so please stay tuned for that. It's going to go to the same email that you used to register here. If you didn't get it, reach out to us. It also always lives in our help document library. So I really appreciate you guys spending an hour with me today. Thanks, Christian, for answering some questions for me. Please stay tuned. We will be having another webinar probably in the next few weeks or so, so check out your email and the banner in your studio for that. I appreciate everything that you guys have done today, and we will talk to you guys next time.